Okay, I'm gonna wait about 1 more minute, let folks funnel through, and then we'll get started. Should be good to go in a second. I'll wait about 1 more minute and then we get this going. Let me check who's all in here. Okay, the usual faces. Nice, nice. All right. And then if there's, so this is how it's going to work. I'll do my tickers. There's about 10 of them, I think. Talk about the earnings reports coming this week, talk about the overall market sentiment, talk about crypto, and then at the end, you guys can drop your tickers and let me know what's up. All right, so we're going to start with earnings. This week's earnings, we got Target on Tuesday before open. I'll be watching that. You know how Target moves. We've got CrowdStrike after close Tuesday. That's also going to be important for me or interesting to me. Abercrombie and Fitch (ANF) before open Wednesday, and I believe Abercrombie is almost at that $100 price point, which is an important price point for Abercrombie and Fitch. Then we've got AVGO Thursday after close, as well as Costco, COST. Those are going to be some interesting earnings as well. So yeah, those are the ones I'm really looking at. So that's Target TGT, CrowdStrike CRWD, Abercrombie and Fitch ANF, and then AVGO Broadcom and COST Costco. Those are the 5 earnings I'm really looking at this week. I'll see how they move. Probably trade the continuations, if nothing else. All right. So that's crypto. Sorry, that's earnings done. Now let's talk about crypto. So I'm gonna pull up. We're gonna pull up MSTR. That's probably the biggest crypto stock that's out there right now. So MSTR, right? It's been selling off since November, right? And funny enough, Bitcoin, for the first time since November, Bitcoin was under 80,000. So I can actually pull up Bitcoin for you because that's lifetime right now. It's back at 93K, but look, for the first time since November, Bitcoin was under 80,000, right? It's obviously recovered, bounced back, jumped up about 15,000 from 78K to 93K. Either way, the reason I'm saying that is because MSTR, HUT, HUT, Riot, here we go, Riot, Mara, they're all overall bearish, but you're going to see some nice bullish price action tomorrow at open and maybe continuing into the rest of the week. So the reason being, well, you guys might have seen a bit of the chit chat earlier today. Trump came out and announced that he plans to make the US the crypto capital of the world. So that's very interesting because, you know, throughout February, Bitcoin was just pulling back. I mean, pullbacks are normal, pullbacks happen, but the pullbacks from February were very heavy. So with Trump announcing the tariffs, that helped wipe out, you know, I think up to $1 trillion in value at once in the crypto market. And then you just had a lot of the altcoins, a lot of all those crypto coins just selling off heavily. Bitcoin fell like, I think 17% in February. Let's just see. If we look at the monthly candle for Bitcoin, right, you're going to see a huge red candle. Right? Bitcoin got killed in February. Right? So this is the February candle, this long red one here. So we dropped from 103K all the way to a 1.78K, right? So Bitcoin got killed in February, which meant, again, MSTR, HUT, RIOT, Riot, MARA, all sold off heavily. And again, pullbacks are normal, sell-offs are normal. You know, it's going to happen when you've got things that are overbought, overvalued. But now that they've all pulled back a lot, there's going to be opportunities to take Bitcoin back up to 100K. There's going to be opportunities to take MSTR back up to, 350s, you know, from here up to 335s, maybe 350s throughout this month. Again, news is heavily affecting these stocks right now because right now we're in a market where any bit of news can just shift the market, right? We've got a new administration which started like 6 or 7 weeks ago. You know, we're looking, you know, they always talk about those first 100 days, first 90 days of a new presidency, how important they are. We're in the middle of that right now, right? So it's going to be any little bit of news, any bit of tariffs announced, any bit of this or that. It's going to crash the market. It's also going to help the market rip and rally. So that's what happened this weekend with Trump saying he wants to make crypto or make the US the crypto capital of the world. And he also wants to just make sure that the US has a crypto reserve that's going to really, be, let's say, less prone to the two attacks than it was during the Biden administration, right? To be honest, during the Biden administration, I don't really know about the crypto attacks. I don't really know what occurred, but I do know Bitcoin hit all-time highs multiple times during the Biden administration. So again, the crypto rally right now is purely based off news. It's not making a lot of sense to me in regards to corrupt attacks or any of that stuff that Trump is talking about. But again, the focus is just understanding that news can sway, understanding that, anything can flip or rally or ride at any different time. You just got to be aware of that. You just got to know what you're looking for during those times. So right now, this week, we're looking for crypto rallying. Starting a new month, new monthly candle, we're looking for crypto, MSTR, the other stocks I mentioned, to rally, to fly. That's what we're looking for, right? So that's it for crypto for now. And of course, if you're a long-term crypto investor like I am, then any dips can get eaten up. Dips to levels of support, dips to specific price points can always get eaten up. So just remember that. Now, let's talk about my actual stocks to watch for this week. So it's a few different stocks that I'm watching from different sectors for different reasons. Where should I start? I'm going to start with one which I think you can swing for about the next 5 or 6 weeks. So that's going to be XYZ. Used to be called Square/Block. I mean, right now it's just fallen to my level of support, right? So what I'm looking at here, and my entry was, it was a couple times this week, right? If you go to the 4-hour chart, there were some entries this week. There was a couple of entries, but I really wanted to see a bit more bullish momentum, right? Maybe we won't get to that $67 price point, maybe a little bit higher. But what I'm really trying to say with this is this $80 price point, right, where we capped down below after earnings a couple weeks ago. That's my target for this week. For next month. That's my target. So what I'm saying with this is you want to look for $80 to $85 calls, which expire maybe April 17th. Yeah, something like that, middle April 17th. And you want to swing them. But you don't want to jump in right away, right? If the overall trend is still bearish, be surgical with your entry. I like XYZ. I like it for an $80 to $85 call for April 17, or, even a little bit later. I don't think the contracts are that expensive. They're probably about $150, I'm guessing. If anyone has their Robinhood, you can check it out. But yeah, XYZ calls, $80 to $85, expiring April 17. Just check that out. Once we start getting some bullish momentum, the same way it rose from October to November, it can do that from March to April. It can do that, right? And if you look at the bigger picture, if you want to go even further out, right? If you've got more confidence in it. October 3rd, 64. December 3rd, 99, right? Jumped up 50%. I'm not saying that's going to happen now between March, April, and May, but again, don't underestimate these stocks, right? When you're in a bullish market, when you're in a sector which is doing well, XYZ can catch heat, can catch fire, and just start pushing up like crazy like that, right? Next, I'm going to go with NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is one of those stocks, right, which wowed the markets last year and the year before, okay? Now, if you just look how it's been trading, it's not had the nicest price action long term, but it has had I'd say decent weekly price action, right? Couple weeks here, bearish, couple weeks bullish. But if you zoom out, you're like, oh wait, we're back where we were in October. And this price action over the last couple months isn't great. Like, it's no consistent trend, right? So right now, you've got daily close above the 200-day moving average. If you look at the monthly candle, it's still sitting pretty, right? You could call that an inverted hanging man right there. It's still sitting pretty. I mean, it's not, the body's a little bit big, but yeah. Either way, you got a nice close. We could look at the weekly candle for NVIDIA, right? Weekly candle red, right? So it's again, one of those stocks that you're kind of waiting a little bit to see a little bit more bullish momentum. But what would my price target be for NVIDIA? First up, it's the white line here, 128.80, so 129 price point. Then 135, then 138, and back to 140, okay? So it's a $16 move, which I'm expecting over the next week or two. If you look at Friday, it jumped $5. So if it jumps $5 a couple times this week, one time next week, we're already near my price point of 140. right? If the market is running, if tech is running, if QQQ is running, if software is running, you're going to see Nvidia fly. You're going to see Nvidia push. What I like about a stock like Nvidia, right, is it's strong, and when it's strong, you see a $5 gain, a 4.4% move in a day. That's a nice green candle. But also, if you catch it to the downside, look at that candle, right? That's probably how much is that? 130. That's probably a good $14 drop, right? So again, you've got to catch the move more likely in a day trade than a swing trade for me for Nvidia, right? So just keep that on watch as well. Nvidia, I'll give you the price points again later, but trust me, I'm seeing those kind of stocks and I'm thinking, when they pull back heavily and they start catching heat, look how they can rally, right? Look what happened in January. Gap down, pull back, and then we did finally catch heat. We pushed up. Last week they had earnings. Earnings just had it selling off. The earnings didn't go. The earnings didn't go how a lot of people was expecting it to go. It went how I expected it to go. I wasn't expecting Nvidia to do too much. Kept saying in the chat, Nvidia puts. Luckily, I don't think anybody really went too heavy on Nvidia calls. Those that did go, but again, now whenever you're looking at these kind of stocks and they're reporting earnings, you should know the pattern, right? It's a big gamble. It doesn't matter how good of a company Nvidia is. Doesn't matter how the sector is performing. The single earnings for each company is pretty much a pure gamble, right? So let's wait for it to start soaring again, get in the calls, most likely for a day trade, and then we'll take it from there. Next up, I'm going to go with Amazon. So why am I looking at Amazon? I want to show you this, right? You zoom out. So Amazon, we were at 242, right? It was at nice yearly highs. We're down about, I think, 15 or 17% from the yearly highs, right? And again, similar to Nvidia, you catch this on the right day, you're going to catch some nice heat. And when the market is running, Amazon's going to run as well, right? When the market is bullish, Amazon's going to be bullish too. So 4-hour chart, potential double bottom here forming, potentially. We got a nice close above the 9-day moving average Friday. I think there's still there's a lot of bullish momentum for this once it does pick up some steam, $30 $30 rise to get back to the highs from February, from last month, right? Just a $30 push. So just keep watching that. And then obviously this week we start well, we pick up some steam after the markets have been oversold. Amazon's got some space to run as well, right? So don't sleep on Amazon. Same way it took elevated down, it can start taking, the step up, right? The steps upwards. So again, this is one of those, just like Nvidia, it's got enough room to run when it starts catching fire, and it's going to obviously take off with the rest of the market. Next up, we're going to go Hood. Now, Hood, I'm going to pick up the daily chart because this is one of the stocks, a bit like HIMS, a bit like TEM, Tempus AI, which I'll just show you guys. So this is TEM, see the sell-off after the highs, HIMS, the sell-off after the highs. It's a bit similar to those, right? One thing I would say is if you are, one thing I would say if you are taking Hood calls, just watch, be careful, be aware. We're still below both the 9 and 21 moving average. They also crossed to the downside, right? It's looking overall a little bit more bearish now than it was a few weeks ago. So if you're going to trade this and you want to trade it to the upside with calls, it's best to look at this for a day trade right now. Again, moving averages cross to the downside. That's a bearish indicator. That's a bearish signal. We're below the 9 and the 21 either way, right? We close below. Again, that's bearish. If you want to trade this to the upside, sure, go for it for a day trade. If you want to swing trade it, it's best to wait. This is not really a great entry for swing trading because it can get rejected by the moving average, come back down. And again, you are one of those people that really likes Hood and you think, okay, longer term, it can go back up to 60s, 70s, whatever. Then you can get longer term call options for end of April, May, whatever. There's no way though that right now you try and swing calls just from this level, not the setup, right? It's just not worth it, right? Look at 4-hour chart. We're kind of in between the moving averages. We can easily get rejected and come back down. So you want to see a nice break. Weekly. All right. Thank you, whoever kicked that guy out the lounge. Appreciate it. So, weekly chart, you got this hanging man on the 9 day moving average. That's also interesting to note. Let's see if we hold here and start uptrending again, or we start to break down. Okay. Then I'm gonna go for a good friend of ours. All right, SoFi. SoFi is pretty interesting because it really pays attention to the levels of support and resistance. Right here, you see again since February, mid-February, we've just been setting off. Moving averages crossed to the downside. It's been pretty bearish, right? We hit highs of 17, came back all the way to 13,660, test that level of support, and start uptrending again. We're still below the moving averages on the daily chart. And if you look at the monthly chart, you'll see that SoFi had a red month, right? And it had an outside month as well. So, is it? Maybe no outside month there. It's tough to see. I think it did. Anyway, again, just watch the price action with this because again, it's one of those when it does finally get some momentum, catch fire. A lot of retail investors will put their money into SoFi, and you'll see it start rallying back up to $17. This week, again, if you want to day trade it, it's better. It's got a better day trade setup than a swing setup. Moving averages both above the price action, below both of the moving averages on the daily time frame, 4 hour time frame. We're starting to slowly break above, but again, it's not confirmed because look what happened last time, right? 25th February, we pushed up to 1483, came right back below the moving average, right? Same thing could happen here. It could come back right below the moving averages. So that's why we look at different time frames. That's why you've got to pull out the 4 hour, daily, weekly, have a look at different time frames so you can get an idea of how the price action is moving and what the stock could be doing next, right? So we're going to do Walmart. Walmart 1 hour chart, bullish. 4 hour chart, bullish. Daily, this is where you see it finally closed above the 21-day moving average. Now the 9 and 21 look like they could be getting ready to cross over, but they're starting to curl to the upside, and to be honest, the gap down after earnings was pretty unfair. I think Walmart's numbers were not even that bad, but again, sometimes when the earnings are reported, the reaction is an overreaction, and that is what happened with Walmart. So you got an overreaction, the stocks sold off heavily, and now it's starting to recover. For those who would have entered down here at the level of support, you would have got in early. You would have obviously been rewarded with the calls. Now I'd say though is when you should start looking to take it back up to 100, 105, and then obviously back to those highs around 105.52 from last month. Once again, though, Target is reporting earnings this week, so that could have an effect on Walmart, right? Target has been clearly bearish. You see the trend. Up, straight down, up, straight down, up, straight down. That's the trend lines here. And I could even draw a couple more trend lines, right? A little one here. Move this one slightly more down. And then next trend line, straight down. So Target is clearly bearish, but again, what we just discussed, earnings, it's a toss-up, right? Anything can happen. You could see this maybe bottom out where we sold off to after last earnings, or you could see us, depending on what they report, start pushing back up, right? Last earnings, you guys remember trading that one. Obviously, it sold off like crazy. It dropped a good $30. Now, if it drops another $30, we're going to go back to lows from way back, right? We're going to go back to lows from November 2023. So just again, be wary of what it's going to do. And again, this earnings is pre-market Tuesday. I'd rather just wait until Tuesday trading to trade it. Wouldn't trade it tomorrow. There's no point really trying to. Tomorrow's the only day to trade it before earnings. There's no point really trying to gamble this. There's none, right? Look, you can see the pattern, right? It's telling you which way it's been going. Wait for the earnings to occur. If it shoots up 20, 30 after earnings, that's fine. We trade the earnings aftermath and we continue taking it higher. If you like shares though, long term, yeah, Target is a good one for you. Buying in at 124 is not a bad price point, right? Take it back up to the highs of 176, and then obviously you've got a nice return on that, on your investment there. So now we're going to go to AMD. and then I'd say Fubo after that. So AMD, everyone sees now we broke below $100 for the first time since end of 2023, right? So that's obviously a shame for those of you who are, or those of us who are AMD shareholders. Long term, I think AMD will be back at the 150, 200 price point, within the next couple of years. I'd say that's my best case scenario. Worst case scenario, which I really don't think is going to occur, is we see AMD back in the 80s, right? And I'm talking long term. I mean, we could see it short term back in the 80s, but I'm talking about a year from now, 2 years from now. Worst case scenario, we see it back in the 80s, but honestly, that's very unlikely. Again, best case scenario, we are back up 200 to 250. I see this as a great long term play. I see this as an opportunity to get call options for July, August, September. I see this as an opportunity to really get yourself a safe play. For those of you who know about Meta, my history of Meta, we're gonna have to go to the monthly chart for this, right? Meta, I first bought 2019, around $140. So let me zoom in a little bit, and this is why I say like look at longer term call options, look at shares, all that stuff, right? 2019. So okay, yeah, $140, right? 2019, right? What happened in the beginning of end of 2022? It's sort of all the way to 89. What did I do? I didn't buy more with Meta, right? I just held what I had. It's good I didn't sell because selling is even worse, but I just held what I had. And now look, where are we? We're back almost at $700. So the reason I say that is because AMD, right? Like similar story, right? We got high up to 225, sold off, now under $100. Get yourself some leaps. Get yourself like, honestly, I'm just thinking about just dumping a bag in this. This one is going to be a banger. It's just going to take time. When AMD does finally catch some heat, you're going to see. You're going to see. AMD reported one of their best earnings in a while. And what did it do? It sold off, right? It's all good. Don't worry. When AMD catches heat, I've been here before many times. AMD is going to be back up at 150s, 200, without any hesitation, without a doubt. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. Then, what I did want to remind you is if AMD, this $100 level is very important for a lot of stocks. $10 level, $100 level, those are very key levels for a lot of stocks. If we do finally hold at my level of support, we've got a doji daily candle right there. We do finally hold at my level of support, catch some heat. Don't jump in too early. That's what I want to say. Don't jump in too early because look, December we pushed up, sold off. January, sold off. Pushed up, sold off. Pushed up. So there's a pattern here, right? If we do push up, don't get in too late. So if you want to get in when it's low and it's starting to build up. Don't get in when it's close to the moving average and it's starting to sell off again. That's not when you want to get in. So the entry of AMD is going to be really important, especially if you're trying to swing it for a longer term play. Let's go to Fubo now. FUBO. So this right now, $3 stock, right? Daily chart is kind of crazy. A lot of consolidation along in amongst moving averages. We finally gapped down, right? The reason I've got Fubo on the watch list is because, as you can see, beginning of the year, right? We had a lot of consolidation. We finally jumped up just because of news, right? Fubo is one of those stocks where, yeah, it's dead right now. It's dead in the water. It looks horrible. But really, if I'm honest with you, this on some random days, right? It's super random. It's super random, but Fubo. So the best way to break down to you guys is Fubo actually beat expectations this quarter. If you go look at the earnings call transcript, if you go and look at the highlights, read about the highlights, their earnings was not even that bad, but the stock plummeted. The shares dropped 24%. So again, this just needs to catch some good news. And even though they missed revenue, it's no big deal. We know about Fubo right now. It's gonna keep relying on news to catch some heat. When it catches the heat, though, you're gonna see how this can just move, right? You saw it in January, boom, from 134 to $6, right? Now, I'm not saying it's gonna happen this week, but I'm just saying keep your eye on it. Like really keep your eye on it. It's kind of crazy how Some stocks like Fubo just need a little bit of news and they will go dummy, right? Grab is another one. Grab right now, it's just kind of consolidating at this level. Sorry, RGTI is actually the one I meant when I say catch news and it just starts doing whatever, right? Did it last year from $2 all the way up to $20, right? RGTI, just any bit of news and it will just fly up. Grab now is a different stock I want to review, but this has more of a nicer setup loading. So again, we got to close above the 9.21. We see that, every time it seems to rally, it seems to sell off. We see a few crazy candles here, doji, hammer candles, inverted hammer candles. You see a lot of different crazy candles, I do think Grab, though, if you're looking for, let's say, a cheaper lotto play, Grab is probably the one for you, right? If you look at how far this has come in the last few months, right, from lows of $3 down here to just under $3 up to 570, almost 60, almost doubled in that short period of time. Grab, again, the setup is decent. It's not a terrible stock. It's not like a penny stock that you're looking at and it's just straight down. It's holding its own, right? It's come a long way the last 6 months to a year, right? It's done decent, right? Now we're back to that position where we're just above the moving average on the daily chart. You look at the monthly candle, you're like, okay, that's impressive. A good month for Grab. Buyers really pushed the price up, but sellers ended up bringing it down a little bit. You look at the weekly candles for the last few weeks, and you realize, okay, we've been steadily uptrending. We pull back a little bit, but it's all right. Daily chart again. We're kind of prices in and around the moving averages. We're just waiting again. More volume, like we had back in November, more volume, and I'm sure you'll see Grab back up at $5, closer to $6 within the next month or two. So again, that's a cheaper lotto, cheaper play if you want to look at something which expires, May, maybe even June. And then I'm gonna go with SMCI. So SMCI is another interesting stock, right? I have a zone drawn for SMCI. Price action, when it goes into that zone, it really does respect that zone. Now, the reason I want to talk about SMCI is because they were required to file their 10K by last Tuesday, February 25th, and they did it. So you saw the stock actually jumped up. Where is the February 25th? Here, from here to here, jumped out of the zone, but price came straight back into the zone. It's down 4% right now. If anyone has their own hood up, they can look and see how much it's down like live right now. I can't actually see that. But yeah, it's down 4% on Friday. That's how it closed. I think SMCI longer term, yeah, maybe a good opportunity here to swing it up. But I wanted to get out of the zone first, right? In the last week, this is the crazy part, right? In the last week, you see how horrible this candle is, right? Look at that. Crazy. So look at that. Down 26% last week, right? From 56 all the way down to 39 it went. It only had a nice, like 24% rally when, this is a 24% rally right here, when they had their news, well, not even the news, when they reported their earnings and they filed their 10K last week from 43 up to 55. So it jumped 25% just to continue selling off. So right now it's bearish, but I'm waiting for it to come out the zone. I'll keep you updated in the chat, in the tabs, what happens if it falls out the zone and continues selling off. We can get another one of these, going from 38 down to 25, right? If it starts uptrending again, I'm gonna wait for it to break out the zone and see how far it can start pushing. But once again, this just tells you that the news will obviously, it can cause a lot of things to happen. SMCI is one of those stocks that, again, it's like AVGO, Broadcom. It seemed to have these huge, crazy moves. And it's one of those where when you catch it on the right day, it's great. It's lovely. It's a day trade. But would I really swing it? Probably not. Okay. So let me see if there's any stocks you guys want me to look at. I have a feeling Palantir might be one of them. But let me pull up. All right. Anyone got some tickers they'd like me to look at? AVGO, so Broadcom, thank you STS, AVGO, Broadcom. They report earnings this week, Thursday, like I said. Right now it's bearish, moving average is crossing to the downside, price is below the moving averages. The candle is horrible, we've got a close below the moving averages. Monthly candle on AVGO. Check this. Look at that. Straight. We had highs of 238, lows of 193, right? But it is better right now. AVGO is gonna report earnings Thursday. Broadcom, they're reporting earnings Thursday. Okay. The thing with AVGO, Broadcom, it's another one of those where it's like it's so unpredictable, but 2, 3, 4 years from now, this could soar so high, right? It's one of those semiconductors which is pretty established, I'd say. They're capitalizing on AI pretty well, but hey, zoom out, right? This is the thing with AVGO. From where we were to where we are now, we've gone so high. I feel like it needs to come down a little bit more. Look, we've gone so high. This is the thing with AVGO, right? It's gone so high. I feel like it needs to come down a little bit more. But again, they're doing their thing with AI, you know. They performed well. Can it sustain that performance? That's what I'm not so sure about, right? That's what I'm not so sure about. They had great growth last year, as you can see. I think this might have been one of the best performing stocks out there, actually. Look how consistent that chart is over the last 1 year from here, over the last 2 years from here. It's done pretty well. Can it keep that going? That part I'm not sure about. All right, there's a lot of tickers out. ELV, we'll go with ELV. So Elevance Health, okay? First thing I noticed was that this sold off crazy in the last 6 months, right? ELV, this is a stock, let me see. Volume 1.6, okay, market cap 90 billion, okay. Interesting. So this might be a longer term play, right? This might be a longer term play. But either way, what I like about ELV is this, right? 9 and 21 moving average right here. It's holding above the moving averages nicely. It's respecting it. We've got some room to run. We do. First price target would be what, like 415, those highs from this year, right? We sold off heavily, we came back, sold off again, but we're coming back again. So this would be a nice one to look at for 415 price target. Okay. Let me just kind of look at the financials a little bit. Oh, it's also it pays a dividend. Interesting. Okay. So strong buy, strong buy. Interesting. Interesting stock. This is at a good price point where it can start catching some steam. Probably go to that test at 415 level. Might come down a little bit before we go higher. But again, longer term, this might be one to just buy up and then get a nice 50-60% return on your investment. Good call out. Let's see what else is being suggested. Chipotle CMG. Oh, there's a lot of tickers, so I might just try and take a out. Maybe 8 or 10 of them. CMG. I'll still wait. We had some weird consolidation where we kind of ranged in between these two levels. I'll draw the levels right now. I'm gonna draw it like this. Top of that wick and bottom of that wick, right? I call this little range, right? Kind of trade in between this range for about a month straight. Came down. You can draw the range like that, up and down, or you can even draw a little bit of a box around the price point. I would wait for Chipotle. Long term, great company, great stock. This is one where I would buy shares at $50. Don't neglect the long term portfolio as well. I would buy shares at $50. I think. What else would I say? If we're talking about food, I say Cheesecake Factory. So cake, Chipotle, maybe Texas Roadhouse. I don't remember the ticker symbol. Oh yeah, TXRH. Yeah, maybe these ones. Texas Roadhouse is a nice setup as well. Those three probably my top three. I'm not really a huge fan of Kava, but yeah, these three are probably my top three. Let's see who else. Eli Lilly. I like this stock, man. This is every time it pulls back. This is a great place to get calls. I did a one-on-one with someone in here about 2 months ago. Yeah, we were down at 745s, and we were just looking at how great the setup is. It's just calls all day. Pulls back to moving average, continues going higher. Look at the 4-hour chart. Just respects price, respects moving average. This is a nice one to trade up to, 940s, 970s, back to the highs from August. So yeah, Eli Lilly would be calls when it pulls back. JPM is bearish, right? But one thing to note, we break above that moving average, we're bullish again, right? We could have, maybe with the inverted hammer here, we might have flipped bullish. But overall it's bearish. Financials right now, if I look at Wells Fargo, take a symbol WFC, right? They're all kind of doing the same thing around the moving average. Bank of America, BAC, this one finally broke above on Friday. AXP, American Express. See, now these tickers are just in my mind. Still bearish, but just starting all of these. I'd wait a bit for JP Morgan. It's still bearish in my opinion. It's the most bearish of the financials. But when we catch a little bit more heat, get a bit more buying, get a few more buyers, get a little bit more volume in there. Yeah, that could be something. IONQ, don't really like that stock. It's pretty bearish right now. I'll just look for puts if it breaks below the 200 moving average right there. Monthly chart, nasty, right? Close below. Good bearish close. Not a huge fan of this stock, right? In all fairness to them though, the first time I ever traded it was about $4 or $5. It was a while back, so it's come far. Again, not a huge fan of it. More bearish than bullish to me. But yeah, thank you for providing that stock. OKLO. Oklo. This is just doing the same thing that TEM, HIMS, a few of those stocks done. Bearish right now. You wanna see it come down, maybe to this level right here, right? Maybe to this level right here, which is already at, and see what happens. If it does manage to bounce, okay. Otherwise, it's just going to break below and keep selling off. Oracle, sure. Bearish right now. Below the moving averages. A lot of the market is bearish right now. But again, if the market does, like this is not one where, look, weekly candles in and around the moving averages, bearish close. This isn't one where we're looking to even trade it right now, because it's come down a lot from 181. So if you guys remember when I called it out a few weeks ago, we were looking for the gap back up to, I think, 182. We did that. We've come back down again. So again, you want to wait for it to catch a little bit of heat, see some volume before it goes back up again. TEM, sure. Any other tickers? TEM, you gotta wait. It's a Nancy Pelosi backed stock though, so if you want to buy shares of it, $55 ain't a bad price point. I'd say again, it's a little bit strange because those Nancy Pelosi stocks, they catch fire and they rally, they ride, and then they sell off. And then a month later, you get news of, oh, she sold $100 million worth of shares at $90. And it's like, okay, well now why are we holding at 56? So it's like those Nancy Pelosi ones, you just kind of got these a bit. You got to play them clever, right? We went from 33 in January to a month later, 91 in February. Now back at 56, kind of in between, kind of just hanging in between. Weekly candles kind of ugly. Yeah. You know what? I want to talk about Nike. Nice little face forming here, right? Start to uptrend. Daily chart. Started to break above the moving averages, came back down. Testing my level of support. Keep Nike on watch for a little bit. A few calls here and there might not be too bad. Any other ticker? UPS, Amazon. UPS. Beautiful chart. UPS calls. This is a prime. This is delicious. Look at that drop off after earnings and recovery. This is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Target, Costco, AVGO reporting earnings this week. UPS, this is prime calls right now. Trade back up to that gap. Oh, actually, let me check the weekly. Forget a gap. Just start watching this. Start watching this. Weekly is still struggling to get over the moving average, but it's recovered so well from the lows of 106 up to 119. Yeah, UPS could be nice calls. Um, Amazon, we already discussed Amazon. Uber, hanging in between the moving averages. So the moving averages are converging. That means they're getting closer together. We'll see if they cross. Would they, if they diverge? We'll see. Weekly chart for Uber looks like it needs to come down a little bit. It can come down a bit. Uber, you just gotta wait. There's no real setup that I'm looking at right now. I mean, yeah, Uber, you kind of gotta wait. If you're getting in calls a little bit early, you get inputs a little bit early. Like you kind of want to see confirmation of which direction we could be going. Snap. All right, this is the last one. Bearish, man. This is just getting rejected by the moving averages, just respecting moving averages and selling off. Again, weekly chart, bearish. Snap is definitely bearish. Funny thing is, any bit of news and you could see it start rallying. I didn't even know. Snap is such a weird one because it has some of these days where it moves up 3%, but some days it just gets news that people are suing them, that no one, that their ads is just, the ads revenue is just down, like down dramatically. I'm talking about the user hype is dying. Like Snap is such a weird stock. Like I'm not sure how this is not like $3. Like they just need to. I don't even know what they need to do. They have a lot of, or they used to have a lot of like a huge user base in comparison to what Meta has and stuff. But now it's kind of just sad going outside. I'd say it's still there, so it's still $10 stock. Social networks. Social networks is not easy. So yeah. Speaking of social network, what's Reddit doing? Really chart for Reddit. It's crazy. Interesting. All right, folks. I don't know how many tickers we went to. I think we might have gone through almost 20 together. But either way, like I said at the start, crypto's running, crypto's rallying. Don't get bull trapped. Wait for your entries. Yeah, really it, folks. Let me know if you've got any questions in the chat. Apart from that, hope you guys enjoyed the session. Hope you guys enjoyed the weekly watch list. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's get this money. Thank you and peace.